Oh, I screwed that one up, man. I gotta work out this thing with like this intro and exit boombox thing going on and get it right. Hey, man, this is Gene on the Rucksack Revolution live stream. And if you wonder what this shirt is, this is my Hell Week shirt. Third one in 3 years from Orange Theory Fitness. Got from my workout a little while ago. You don't want to smell me right now. I'll tell you that much. And hey, I already got my first guest on the show. It's Gita Minoko. What's up?
Hi,
Gita,
how are you, Mr. Anderson?
I'm Thinky. I got home from the gym a little while ago and got on my drum and got my Hell Week shirt. Third year in a row. It ain't easy, man. I'm telling you, like today was like my 8th workout in 10 days, and the last 4 or since Sunday have been like what they call Hell Week workouts. And I hate the phrase Hell Week because I was in the military, and to me, there's only one Hell Week, and that's in SEAL school. And for any fraternity, fitness club, I don't care who you are, man, to call your thing Hell Week to me is kind of, but that's what they call it. And it ain't easy. It's just the difference is we actually don't sleep for 4 hours the whole week, so. But yeah, it was tough. I was gonna just walk today, and I still like got my butt handed to me. It was we just like did this thing up to like 15% incline on the treadmills for a half hour, and then had to go and I don't know, just do like push-ups till you died or something. But anyways,
I can't do a single push-up. I'm not proud of this, but I can't. I have no upper body strength whatsoever, and I've been working on it, and I can't successfully do a single push-up unless I'm on my knees.
Well, you can do that. I mean, that's the cool thing about Orange Theory. When I started there, I hate to say it because I was in the military, but I couldn't really do push-ups very well. If they said do like 20 push-ups, I would have looked at them like they were nuts. And but they make you can do accommodations. That's the cool thing about Orange Theory is like you could have like an Olympic athlete, like Usain Bolt could be a member in your class, right? And he's on the treadmill, and so he's doing like the treads go up to a 5-minute mile pace. So he's just, he's cruising at a 5-minute mile. And then you're say like some person who hasn't been in a gym in your life and you're just morbidly obese and you're walking, it's all on your own heart rate. So Usain is over here and he's just, cruising, and you're over here just walking and your heart rates are about the same. So you're getting the same workout.
Yeah.
And here's the cool part. Usain Bolt, who's next to you, who is the big jock, superhero athlete, is not giving you that jock attitude. He's like looking at you like, hey man, you're doing great. Keep it up. It's very, it's like my church now, to be honest, like I really didn't need to go today. I was probably a little burned out to go today. That's why I only walked. I didn't run. My hip flexors are pretty tight. I don't want to hurt them. But I got to see my people. You know what I mean? Like I get pumped up by just being there with the people in my class. And you should come, man. You can get a free workout. You can come with me and get a free workout and try it out.
I'm very nervous about joining a gym for exactly the reason that you mentioned before, which is that sometimes you can be in this environment that's really not supportive and collaborative.
Right. No, this is not like that.
Themselves there.
Do you know what a hype video is?
I mean, I can look into it. Is it just like people amping you up for something?
Yeah. Like, SEC football teams have them before the week before the big game. They'll have the big hype video. Okay, my favorite hype video, it wasn't really a hype video, but it was, there was this guy, it was, I think in South Carolina at an Orange Theory there a few years ago. There's this guy, I think he was 25 or 26, but he was really, really overweight. I mean, we're talking like this guy was like, 5'10" and weighed like 400 pounds or something, like when he joined. And so the story goes is, I don't remember, I think it was, they have what they call benchmarks during the year. So you have like, say, 2,000 meter row or 500 meter row or mile run or whatever. And you get to, kind of measure yourself, right? And twice a year, they have a thing called the dry try where they have a mini one too, but the main one is you row 2,000 meters, which is like a mile and a quarter, basically. 2,000 meters. And then you do like 300 repetitions of some various exercises, bench hopovers, push-ups, burpees, whatever. And then you run a 5K or, jog or whatever you can do on the treadmill. And so this guy, when he started there, so the story goes, I think it was the head trainer at his gym would come in on his days off and would like go through the workout next to him. It says this is pre-COVID, where now it's like they space you out. It's like half-size classes or something.
Yeah.
But so he was on he'd come in on his time off, like be on the rower right next to him. And this guy was so big, just getting on and off the rowing machine was like a workout for him in the beginning. And he was very, of course, very self-conscious and, all this stuff. And so this guy would come in, and if he couldn't, one of the other trainers would come in on their time off, and they would go through the workout with him through the whole hour at his pace.
Yeah. That's
it wasn't like the guys next to him, come on, go faster, go faster. I mean, he'd encourage him, but he went at his pace.
Yeah.
Right.
That's
and
awesome.
went through the whole workout with him. And so he lost a little weight, but he still was pretty big. And I guess it might have been the 1 mile benchmark, or it was something, some running thing. And so he's on the treadmill, and they show it like this class, a full-size class in Orange Theory, I think can be 36 people. I mean, but pre-COVID, now it's 12, but it could be 36. And so people are coming over from like, he's on the treads, and he's running, I forget if it was a mile or whatever he was running. And he's jogging, man. He's doing it, he's doing it. And there were two women, one on either side of him, that looked like they ran marathons or something, right?
Yeah.
I mean, they were serious, and they're running next to him, and the whole gym, like everybody's getting off their rower, coming over from the weight room, and they're all around him, like 30-something people, and they're cheering him on. And he's like, and so they have the video, it's like the last maybe quarter mile he's running, right?
Yeah.
It's like maybe 3-4 minutes, and this whole play, and they got the music going, right? And he's running, and the women are beside him running, and everybody's cheering him on.
That's awesome.
And he gets to the end, he does like a fist pump, and you just picture like it's like the end of Rocky. Like he should have just started going, "Yo, Adrian, where's Adrian?" And you cannot help but get like this, tightness in your chest, like you just, I'm not crying, you're crying, kind of thing, Best hype video I've ever seen. I never met the guy. Like I said, I think it might have been up in. I think it was Columbia or Charleston, South Carolina, a couple of years ago. Mm-hmm. But that's the kind of place this is. There's not like I'll name a name, To Your Health Spa here in Ocala, the sweaty jock joint. And I hated the weight room because I had going back to middle school, I tried doing weights, and I was the wimpy kid, and the jock boys made horrible fun of me because like they're doing curls, right? And I'm just curling the bar. Like I'm not even have any weights, right? And I'm dying. So I have this sort of fear of free weights, actually. Even in the Army, I hated doing free weights because I just felt, the second I walked in the room, I felt intimidated, even though I shouldn't have been. So this kind of place, it's not like that.
That's good.
Today there was a woman working out down the road from me, and she's kind of new, and she's got a few pounds on her, and she was, kind of walking and running a little. And I told her at the end, I just walked up by her and just said, "Hey, I want you to know, man, you did a hell of a strong workout today." And she looked at me kind of surprised. Like she didn't expect, I think she's kind of new. She probably didn't expect that. Because I'm like the guy, I'm sweating all over the place. I just look like I've been in a sauna. Lately I've been sweating hard. I don't know what it is. But yeah, I try to be I try to be the cheerleader there. I'm doing better. I used to cuss a lot. I was the guy that would forget I was cussing out loud. Like they'd say, "Okay, 60, we're running." And they say something like, "Okay, put the incline up to like 8% and sprint for like, all out for like a minute." I'm like, fuck, and it's like, I'm thinking maybe the woman next to me heard it. And I got a friend that's like, it's a row of like 12 treads, right? And my friend's like down like at tread 2, and I'm on like tread 11, and we leave. And she's like, "The whole place heard you drop the F-bomb today." And I'm just like, "Oh shit,"
Okay, but in fairness, if they didn't say it out loud, they were thinking it, and so
right, yeah. But I grew up to people say, "I'm so sorry, I didn't mean to cuss," and they're like, "That's okay, dude. You did it for me." Because sometimes I can't help it. I don't think I've said a cuss word in there now in 3 weeks, which would tell me usually I'm slacking. But it's now I just kind of I've turned into a cowboy. Like they'll we're jogging the warm up kind of thing, and then they'll say, "Okay," because they have like base, push, all out. So it's sort of like, say I'm jogging my warm up base, and then they'll say, "Okay, now we're going to do a push for like 3 minutes," and so you pick up your speed. And so when we kick into the base or we kick into the first all out, I'll be like, "Woo!" and start running. And people think I'm a crazy guy, which I actually am. But that's better than me yelling shit, and everybody hears it. you know, or like the other day we were having to do, you know what mini bands are? They're like, imagine a big rubber band about that wide that could stretch out. Well, it depends. There's like firmer ones and easier ones, depending on your strength. But you put them like on your legs or your arms, and it's kind of like a tension exercise. So like say you're doing squats, you have the bands around your calves and you spread your legs out till they're tight, you know, the band, and then you do your squats, and it's supposed to kind of help give you a little better workout. And they can also be they suck sometimes. And so we had this one, like 23 minutes. We did like 10 different exercises with bands, like basically no breaks. And one of them was we had to get on our back and do what we called leg lifts in the Army. You know, it's like 6 inches up, scissor, just in and out with your legs, no touching the ground for a minute. And the only way I could get through it was to count them. And so I'm over here like 1, 2, 3, 4. I did like 60 and 60 seconds. And I got to the point, like I realized, I'm kind of loud. I probably everybody can hear me. At least I'm not cussing. I did not care. I was just like, I don't care. Nobody's looking at me nasty, so they can deal with it. And like I said, I've been sweating bad. Like I need a squeegee at my station. It's awful. I just look like the sweaty guy. I'm grossing myself out.
If you're going to the gym and you're doing it right, you're going to look like the sweaty guy, right?
No, man, because I'm still. It's like it's mostly women that go. I would say, I mean, I don't know, the morning classes, I think have a few more guys, but like in my classes, it's usually now if you have a full class, there's 12 people. And I would say on a good day, average day, there's maybe 9 or 10 women. It's easily more women than men. And some of the women that I work out with on a regular basis, they're studs, dude. They're like just outrunning me, outlifting me, out sit-ups, out everything. And it's a very humbling experience because, I mean, it's not like that, women are weak, because I know better than that. But, you know, like when you're doing curls, right? Or some exercise, right? And you got like, say, 30-pound weights, 30-pound dumbbells. So you're doing your thing and you're straining. And then you look over and there's some woman and she's smaller than me and she's doing like 35 pounds. And she doesn't have a puddle at her feet. You know? And I'm just going like, it's one of those moments when I realized I smoked like 30 years. You know, now granted, she's maybe 30 and I'm 50. How old
there you go.
I'm 50. Shit, how old am I now? 57? I think I'm 57.
Are you really?
Yeah, I'm 57 years old, man. That's why, like, next year I decide I think I'm going to do try a Spartan trifecta, assuming COVID doesn't screw it up. And 3 Spartan races, the 5K, the 10K, and the half marathon length. And that's what I said in my post last night. I'm like, hey, man, I'm 58, man. I got to get going on this stuff, you know. But, yeah, it can be a very humbling experience at Orange Theory when you just see some some woman who's like size 2, and you think you're over here like, yeah, I'm a veteran, I'm all this, and they're over here just smoking you, just smoking you, and you go through, like, you have to do reps of different exercises, and they might say, okay, now go over, like, you do this exercise, this exercise, this exercise, then you're going to go over to the rowing machine, you're going to row on your rower, like, 1,000 meters or 500 meters or whatever, and then you're going to come back and do another set, you're going to go back, and you think you're kind of cruising along, right? And you're like on the third exercise out of 4, and they're coming back from the rower already, right? They're all over rowing, and they come back. Now they're doing the second set, and you're over on the rower all by yourself. And I just sit there and I feel like, oh my gosh, I'm like an old man. I can't even keep up. So then I just someone says something about it, I'll be like, yeah, well, I'm just trying to enrich my workout by taking my time and really doing, it's an excuse, right? I'm concentrating on my form. What I'm really doing is trying not to have a stroke, is basically what I'm doing. It's like a few years ago, my Ruben and I, she and I went out to Wyoming to see the eclipse, which was really cool, the total eclipse. And we were in Rocky Mountain National Park in Colorado. We went there, and I guess we were there camping for 4 or 5 days, and we went out on there's a place you drive out on this highway, and then it's around, I don't know, 12,000 feet or something, and then there's this hill. It's like a visitor center, and there's a hill, and there's this set of steps, like it must be like a 1/4 mile long, or at least, up this hill. And there's kind of at the top, it's I don't know, a little over 12,000 feet or something. Anyways, this was maybe 3 months before we had joined Orange Theory. So I was still up around 270. And I'm going. I want to go up the steps to this point, and there's like kids like running up the steps and stuff, right? So there's a beautiful view out there, and so I'm going up the steps, and I'm like going up so many steps, and I'm like about to die. So I stop, and then I try to act. Really, I'm trying not to have a heart attack, but I make it look like I'm just enjoying the view, like, oh, I think I'll stop here for a minute and just take in nature's beauty, because I felt like these little kids be going by me. Look at that old man. He can't even breathe. So I just look at them like, you need to stop and smell the roses. But really, I couldn't walk anymore. I couldn't go up the steps anymore. I was just really, I've gotten really, really out of shape, and now I can't believe I'm thinking about doing like a half marathon cross country obstacle course race that like people fall off these things and like break their arms. And some guy broke his wrist, I think, in the race I was in January, from what I heard online, and they don't pay for that crap. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I got to be careful. I might break my hip and be on a walker the rest of my life when I do this. I don't know, man, but you need to come down and do a free workout, and we'll make a hype video. You could do if you could do like 5 push-ups on your knees.
Then I'm sold.
Then we'll do that, and we'll have everybody cheering for you, and we'll have on like the theme from Rocky or something. Dun, 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 dun.
I will have to consider it. I think I mentioned to you last time I was on that I do mainly those YouTube workouts from like Chloe Ting, Pamela Rife, the scissor things, exercises that you were talking about where your legs are like 6 inches above.
Right. Yeah.
There for a minute. I do that all the time. It's great for the abs. But I will try and swing by. The COVID cases are getting worse around here, so I'm trying to kind of pull in.
They do mask optional, but I will say this: it's the one place that I don't mask. The spacing, the way, like it's hot as hell in there because they basically don't run the AC or something. No fans. They really. When I came back, I was kind of, I don't know if I want to go back, and I have to be honest. The way they did the spacing, how they're the cleanliness, what they're doing between classes, wiping everything down. It used to be like when you have 36 people in the class, or even 24, you're sharing stations, right? Like you're number 9 on the tread, I'm number 9 on the row, and we rotate around. Now it's like nobody is on your equipment in your class, right? Like so they can do like say 12 people in the class. And so you've got 1 through 12 rowers, 1 through 12 treadmills, 1 through 12 weight stations. And they do every other one. So like you go in, they say, okay, you want to get a treadmill. You get a 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, or 11. And the rowers are like 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. So you never, like when I go over to my rower, no one's been on my rower. Mm-hmm. And you're still cleaning it off and doing everything. And then they come in between classes and just basically mop the place down. It's I know of no one at Orange Theory where I'm at that has contracted COVID and it in any way that even has got it or that has been traced through there at all. It's other. I mean, if it was like, packed up and I wouldn't be there. I wouldn't do it. But it's the one place I feel like I'm okay. But other than that, I got my Claymore Mind mask that, I love when I see a Trumpster because I don't know what they think of that. It says front toward enemy, like on the front of a Claymore Mine. So I don't know if the Trumpsters look at me and think he must be some kind of Rambo type veteran. So he must be one of us. Or if they're looking at me like, this guy thinks like he must be an antisocial nincompoop or something. You know how it is here with masking.
Well, it's speaking of the
frustrating.
Trump, I wanted to come on because I wanted to talk to your viewers about the election. So if you're watching this and you have not voted yet, please make sure that you have a voting plan and that you have set aside some time either on election day or in the next couple of days to vote early. Very, very, very important.
And do not put your vote in the mail now.
Yeah, that's
starting yesterday was 1 week before the election, and basically nationwide, the post office has more or less said we cannot guarantee your ballot will get to where it needs to go by election night. And you saw what the Supreme Court did with Wisconsin. They upheld their thing that if your ballot, it doesn't matter when it was postmarked. It's election day, which is bullshit.
And do you know the craziest thing about all of that? Kavanaugh was involved in the original 2000 Bush v. Gore Supreme Court ruling. He was doing a lot of stuff behind the scenes for the case. So he knows very, very well that the election does not have to be decided on election day itself.
Mm-hmm.
And
it's actually not. Isn't it only the results are official when they do the thing a couple weeks later, like in the House of Representatives, right? I mean, they validate it or what they call it. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh, it's total. Have you seen the Netflix documentary? It's only a half hour long, called "Whose Vote Counts."
No, is that the one with DiCaprio?
Yes, Leonardo DiCaprio narrates it. Stacey Abrams is on there. They have Republicans and Democrats on there, but Stacey Abrams is the one that comes to mind that's on there. There's also a guy, and I wish I could remember his name. He's involved with the FRC here in Florida, which is they're working on helping felons to get their voting rights back, and among other things. And he has been he's an activist. He's I think he was saying his wife ran for office, and he was a felon. And he'd done his time and everything, and he couldn't get his voting right. He couldn't vote for his own wife for whatever she's running for, county commission or something. And he has been very, very active in this. It's ridiculous. It's the whole show. What it's really about is that in American history, one of the themes in U.S. history is the expansion of the voting franchise.
Exactly.
Right. And it points out something that a lot of people don't know, which is about the time, say, when the Constitution was ratified, late 1700s, something like only 20% of U.S. citizens could legally vote federally. You had to be white, male, a U.S. citizen, property owner, and freeborn.
Yeah.
So, it's kind of funny because I think about these Trumpsters that, like, say, rent, right? And that's cool. I rented. I went on a home. They wouldn't be allowed to vote. There's so many people out there that act like, yeah, we need to toughen up these voting laws. And it's like, dude, you wouldn't even be able to vote back then. What are you talking about? Your wife wouldn't be able to vote.
There's a lot of egregious cherry picking that happens, right, on the Trump side of things. Yeah. It's really unfortunate.
It is ridiculous. It's like the whole idea. It is supposed to be that. Well, that's what they said in this show, is that, like, people think voting is a right. And so the debate is voting a privilege or is it a right? Mm-hmm. And that's what they talk about in this show, that essentially there are people that think it's a privilege, period. And I'm basically, the Republicans aren't going to be a national party in 30 years. That's my opinion. They will not survive the census of 2050 because of what they do. Obama got elected, I guess 2008, and I'm trying to remember if Michael Steele was the head of the GOP then or not. He was the one, the black man who was the head of the GOP, and he only was about 18 months because basically he pissed off the powers that be and he resigned. But I think it was around that. He might have been the chairman then. I don't remember, but their big thing was,
I think was chairman in 2012, not 2008.
Oh, so it wasn't 2008, but in fact, he probably was brought in because of this. They got together and said, we need to diversify. We need to get more people that say aren't white to vote Republican. So they make, a task force. They talk about it on the news. They, blah, blah, blah. And what happens? They nominate Trump. I mean, it's kind of like you talk a really good game, but you're talking out the side of your face.
Yeah.
And people try to tell me, Republicans I know, they'll say, oh, no, we're a party of diversity. And I tell people, I go, look, this year was different because of COVID, but I tell them, look, all you got to do is watch the presidential convention every 4 years. And, when you look on the floor, they show the convention hall, right? And all the delegates, everybody's down there.
It's a sea of white for the Republicans.
Yes. It's like they got to find a black guy to do an interview, right? Whereas the Democratic Party, and I'm not trying to make out like the Democrats have it all together because they don't. But when they do that, you pan across the floor of the convention, you see black people and white people and Asian people and brown people, and you see a lot of gay people and transgender people and just a variety. And the Republicans, it's like, excuse me, we got to find a gay Republican. Where are those 6 people from like the log cabin Republicans that we stuck in the back somewhere? We need one of them now on the camera. It's almost that bad. And it's just, and now with the new Supreme Court justice, I don't know if you've seen this on your timeline or not, but I have, because I have a lot of pastors on my timeline. There is a great fear in the LGBT community. I can't even talk. I'm so tired. LGBTQ community that Obergefell can get overturned or reversed.
Yeah, I know.
It's a big fear. Not to mention transgender rights.
Mm-hmm.
And so myself, I didn't start this. It's actually a lot of pastors I know who do same-sex weddings, which I hate that phrase because to me a wedding's a wedding. To clarify for people who don't think that way. We're all basically hanging our shingle out on Facebook and places and saying, look, if you're a couple and you want to get married and you're afraid you may not get the opportunity in 6 months or a year or whatever, we do those weddings because people are scared. And what's worse is I'm wondering if they reversed it, will same-sex couples who are married and have been married for a few years now, will the marriages be annulled?
I don't think so.
I don't think that could happen, but who knows?
I have a hard time imagining that's going to be the case. But you're right; it leaves a very sticky situation for everyone.
People are scared.
Yeah,
and people are really scared.
So what really sticks out for me is that the entire confirmation process, a lot of the Republican Party was coming out and saying that there was no chance of anything happening to Roe v. Wade. Not ever would they touch that.
Right.
And the day that she was confirmed, several came out on Twitter, and as they were celebrating her confirmation, a lot of them explicitly pointed to Roe, and they said things like, "Roe, we're coming for you." Mm-hmm. I mean, it's absolutely, it's baffling and it's horrifying. And this I just want to reiterate to anyone listening to this, please go vote. Please make your voice heard. And to that end, if you are in Central Florida anywhere, I am happy to give you a ride. I'm doing this throughout the weekend up until Election Day itself. If you need a ride to get to your polling place, because I know this is difficult for some people,
I will do the same. That's a good idea.
Send me a message. I don't know if there's a way for Mr. Anderson to include my Twitter or something. You can just DM me and we can work something out. We'll figure
I'll put it out. I use Facebook a lot simply because in at least when I got back here 10 years ago, like not many people I knew did Twitter in Ocala. So I got on Facebook and
you gotta get off.
But I will tag you on there so people can get on.
Propaganda machine nowadays, truly.
Oh, I'm telling you. Did you see Jack Dorsey getting ragged by Cruz today?
I'm sorry.
The hearing. I saw it on the news. Apparently, Jack Dorsey, from Twitter
guy,
was getting ragged on by Ted Cruz in a congressional thing today. He was literally yelling at Dorsey, and Ted Cruz has got to be like,
because of the censorship thing.
Yeah, he's like, y'all don't censor the Ayatollah of Iran, but he's just. Ted Cruz is an ass. I mean, as a human being, I know I would not like him.
You know that there's reports from when he was an undergrad at, I want to say Princeton was where he went for undergrad, right? And there were reports from the girls' dorm. They were separated at the time by gender. There were reports of him sneaking into the girls' dorm to spy on women.
Yeah, he's probably a perv.
Yeah, and it's just so sleazy and gross. And
he grew a beard. You can't trust bearded guys. They're all pervs. I'm telling you, man. I wish he'd grow a real beard. He's got one of those, I'm growing a beard to look cool beards. He needs to grow a beard.
Professional beard, right?
Yeah, he's got professional beard. Yeah, you can tell he goes to somebody and he pays good money, probably taxpayer money to get that beard trim. He just go shaggy. He needs to grow his hair long too. He needs to be a hippie. He couldn't do it if he tried. But he's the thing that gets me is I just think he has no scruples. Because it's come on, man. Trump called his wife ugly, man. Trump got really, really personal, right?
Yeah.
He called Cruz a stupid idiot, his wife ugly, his dog dumb. I mean, you name it, right? And then Cruz sucks up to him once he gets elected.
Well, he's not stupid either. I mean, I think he's actually a very, very smart guy, and he understands what he has to do to stay in power.
Mm-hmm. He's gonna run. He's gonna run in 4 years too.
He's gonna run until he dies.
Yep.
Same for Marco Rubio. He's not out of politics yet. He's trying to make a comeback right now.
You're gonna see in the Republican Party, Trump wins or loses. Pence is gonna run. Tom Cotton from Arkansas is gonna run, and that dude scares me.
Yeah. But let's
Cruz will run.
His kids, because his kids are going to run. Don Jr., Eric, they've openly flirted with it. And I don't know if you watched the Republican convention a couple of weeks ago, but Ivanka's speech just reeked of I'm running.
Yeah.
So,
Don Jr. would be worse than his dad.
100%. Yeah. He's even more sycophantic, if that's even
He's Don Jr. and he hunts like big game. And I cannot stand people who, I'm going to be a real man. I'm going to go over to Africa and kill a cheetah. It's like, you want to kill a cheetah? I'll tell you how to kill a cheetah. Impress me. There's like one tree on the whole Serengeti. The cheetah's taking a nap on it. You climb up in that tree and you wait for the cheetah under you, jump down like Rambo in the movie, right? But with no knife. Just jump down, try to take the cheetah out with your teeth across his neck and just fight the cheetah, hand to hand, right? Yeah. And then the cheetah would kill you, right? But it's like, these people, they take their guns and they go over and they kill,
they're sleeping or they're wounded or they're just trapped. Yeah. I mean, the whole concept of game preserves is so awful to me.
I have a friend I went to high school with, Bill Tripp. He lives in Charlotte, North Carolina now. We actually were in Cub Scouts together. His mom was one of my den mothers when we were 10 years old, 9 years old. And he's done a lot of interesting things in his life. But one of them is he's been to, I think it's South Africa, with the like the anti-poaching units, like the paramilitary units.
Yeah.
I think he's been over there with them, and he told me, he's like, there's some. And I was reading about one. It's all women. It's an all women anti-poaching unit. I want to say they're in South Africa, but it might be Mozambique. It's somewhere in South Africa, and they are serious. They are like shoot on sight. They will kill a dude. Like they're carrying machine guns. You know what I mean? They do not play. You go to kill a rhino on their watch, they will kill you. There's no warning shots, I don't think. You are the enemy, and they will hunt you down. They will kill you to save the rhinoceros or whatever animal. I mean, could you imagine? It would be like people like Don Jr. and his brother going to Yellowstone to like shoot buffalo or something, shoot bison on like a national preserve, a national park. And I don't even see, I've never understood hunting like that. I can see when my dad was a kid in Wisconsin, they'd go up north into Wisconsin and they'd go deer hunting. But this was like during the Depression. I mean, if they killed a deer, it went to meat, and it went in the meat locker, or went to neighbors. You know what I mean? It wasn't just hey, I went to Africa and killed a tiger. Or there aren't tigers in Africa. There's tigers in India. But but you know what I'm saying? It's not like, hey, I cut this cheetah's head off and stuck it on my wall in my vacation cabin. I can see that. But and then my dad actually, he went to the Korean War and he never hunted after that. He was he was into he loved target shooting. It was like it's a very meditative. Target shooting is extremely meditative. Mm-hmm. And he was into that, but he never ever hunted an animal ever again after coming back from the Korean War. Ever.
Well, that makes sense. I mean, the trap.
Yeah. Once you've hunted human beings, and it wasn't a thing like it's no fun anymore. He just killing things bothered him. It was like that. Yeah. And I don't understand. I just think that big game hunting.
It's just
I was like, I actually know someone here in Ocala that they had a big to do because they got to go to Alaska and shoot a caribou from like a helicopter. It's like, what is that? I mean, at least bow hunt. You're kind of on an even keel with the animal, and you better be a good shot, because a lot of people that bow hunt aren't good shots and they wound the animal, and that's terrible. But I mean, if you're
everything about big game hunting, I mean, the drive to do it, I think you have to be a very particular kind of person to want to do it in the first place. And I don't necessarily think that kind of person is a good person. So that I
think that, and there are some women that do it too, but I think that guys who have to go out and shoot big game,
they're compensating for something.
Yep, that's what I think. Look at my great big gun. Yeah, I got a feeling that that's kind of what's going on there a little bit. They probably drive a Corvette when they're at home and in their big truck, and I got a big hat. I don't know. But just really. So what do you think? If you were a betting person, Trump wins or loses?
I was so confident about this like 2 weeks ago, and then I went up to Ohio, in Cuyahoga County, mind you, and my neighborhood was just full of Trump signs. Every single house had one. Mm-hmm. And then I came back to Florida, and I kind of relived the trauma of 2016. And now I got to tell you, I'm not sure. There's polling out of Wisconsin from today that has Biden up by 17 points. And if the polling is even 5 or 6 points within that range in accuracy, then Trump's done for. But I don't know. If he takes Ohio and Florida, I think it's a different story.
What scares me is last night I was watching, I think it was Rachel Maddow. I catch her once, twice a week sometimes. And it's really hard for me because like Anderson Cooper's on against her. Or is it Cuomo? I can't remember. I'm kind of a CNN addict. But Rachel Maddow, I want to meet her. Like, she is amazing. And you know, this is the comparison between like Fox News and say Rachel Maddow is Sean Hannity is just a media figure. He didn't even go to, I'm not saying that you have to go to college to know things. So don't get me wrong. But Rachel Maddow, wasn't she like a Rhodes Scholar?
She's extremely well educated. I don't know her credentials, but I know she
has a PhD in like political science from, I think she was at Oxford. She may have been a Rhodes Scholar. I don't remember. But she's got a pedigree. Yeah. I mean, if she wants to talk about her opinions about U.S. history or what's going on in politics, I'm much more likely to listen to her than say Tucker Carlson. Even if I disagreed with Tucker Carlson, it's not even that. It's not his viewpoint. It's just like, you're just making this stuff up. You don't even, like, I don't know if Tucker Carlson could pass a citizenship test. I don't think Trump could. I helped someone study for one, a pastor friend of mine from Ghana that I went to seminary with. And he was taking his citizenship test during Christmas break one year in seminary. I helped him study for his test. And he's the teacher you should have had for Quiz Bowl instead of me. This guy, Michael Frimpong, before he came over from Ghana to go to school, he was a biology high school teacher in Ghana. And I think it was 2 years in a row, he won an award for being the top like biology teacher or science teacher or something in the entire country. Which, I mean, granted, Ghana is not the size of, say, the U.S., but even if you were like rated, say, for 2 years, the top science teacher in, say, the state of Florida, that would be a very big deal, right? He was quite the guy. Also, he had a cousin. We had a lot of cousins. He told me he wanted to take me. He'd been living in Accra, but his family really from a village farther up country. And he says, "Oh, Gene, one day you've got to come to Ghana with me and meet my family, and we'll go to my home village." And he says, "And you know, like you got to understand, basically we're all related. Like you're going to meet my cousins. I've got like 600 cousins or something like it was some crazy number. And you don't have to remember all their names." And I'm like, I'm glad. But he had one cousin who, I'm trying to think of his first name now. But anyways, he was on the Ghanaian the Ghanaian World Cup soccer team back. Let's see, I was in school with him 2004 to 2006. So I think it was, the Olympics was 2004. So I think it was I don't know. It was one of the World Cups back in there. Anyways, Ghana knocked the U.S. out in pool play to where the U.S. didn't make it to the quarterfinals, I think. Mm-hmm. And basically his cousin won the game for him. I think he got 2 goals. It was a 2-1 game. He got both goals. So he told me, he says, "Gene, you don't want to meet him because like, I know you like, you know, U.S. soccer. And my cousin is the reason you guys didn't get into the knockout round." I'm like, "Dude, I do not like the U.S. men's team. I'm Germany. I only have one soccer jersey, and it's the German home jersey. If Germany played the U.S. in soccer, I would root for Germany straight up. Now the women's team,
I don't watch soccer, man.
Whole different. You don't watch soccer? That's why you can't do a push-up, probably. So you need to watch more sports. You would develop muscles if you just watch sports. Just watching sports will do it, right? You're beautiful just the way you are.
Thank you. Thank you.
You are. You're honestly, I have to say, I've told you about you that I think you are honestly one of the classiest people I've ever known in my life. Miss Fagan, Linda, and I have talked about this for years. You know, I mentioned, we were at the county commission meeting. You were speaking about Billy Woods and the sheriff's not masking and all that.
And I'm so disappointed, by the way, that nothing happened with that. I feel like that's one of my life's greatest failures, that I wasn't able to actually get something done there.
That was not. You were just talking way over their head. They aren't used to like an intelligent. I shouldn't say that. There are plenty of intelligent people that speak at the county commission, and they're intelligent. But I mean, you came in there like someone going to Columbia Law School, right? Like you came in there like big time. I experienced this here when I came back from like Union Seminary, which is at Columbia, right? It's obviously not law school, but it's a similar thing. It's a very top flight program. My advisor, Dr. Cohn,
force you to think differently.
Yeah, like when I took civil rights history in seminary at Union, my professor was James Cohn, who is known as, or was known, he's died a couple years ago, sadly. May his memory be a blessing on everyone. But he taught the class. He also taught my intro to theology class, and he was my advisor. And he is known as the father of Black liberation theology. Arguably along with another guy, Gayrod Wilson, Gayrod Wilmore, who taught in Atlanta. But Dr. Cohn was known as that for good reason. And let me tell you, I had a book written by a guy named Martin Marty. Martin Marty was a Christian church historian. I believe he died a few years ago or some years ago. But he was from the University of Chicago, and he was like one of those guys that's the authority. Like when Martin Marty speaks, people listen, right? And so this was a kind of brief survey of Christian history, maybe 400 pages or something. And as I recall in that book, I was reading it maybe 10 years ago. So Cohn was still alive. I think Luther got 4 pages out of the book. Martin Luther, right? Father of the Reformation. You study world history, you learn about Luther. Cohn was still alive, and he got like 8 pages in the book. When you're in a history book and you're not even dead yet, you're a big deal.
Yeah.
That's a big deal. And so I come home and I'd be talking with people about it's like racial reconciliation issues or something like that. And people act like, oh, well, I know what's up. And you're coming back from a place like Union and you're like, look,
no, you don't. No, you
don't. It's like, look, I'm not trying to be like, I'm just some white guy from here, right? But I actually have learned from some people.
Yeah.
And so this guy, the class was called Martin Malcolm in America, taught by Dr. James Cohn, father of Black liberation theology, who we had, of course, how grad school is, you have a slew of books in a class. But the main text, which I still have, was called Martin Malcolm in America, written by Dr. James Cohn. I mean, so you're pretty much, you're getting it from the source.
Yeah.
And so it's really frustrating to come back to a place like Ocala. I really, my heart went out to you when you were speaking, especially the second week. Right. Because I think they just totally disrespected you.
That was just an absolute disaster.
Yeah. But you were up there and I was like, I wanted to walk up there to them and just kind of grab them by their collar and go, would you just shut up and listen? This woman knows what she's talking about and she's right and you're wrong, and pull your head out of your butt before I slap you around or something. Like, you need to listen to her.
Did I tell you that I testified for a commission as a result? And they published their report like a week ago. It's the National Commission on COVID-19 and Criminal.
Tell me more. I remember you mentioned it, and I mentioned it to Linda. It was a big. When you said the name of it, I knew it was a big deal. It's like National Health Commission something. Yeah,
Loretta Lynch was the chairwoman of this commission, and then there were several other very notable figures. So it was very cool.
Wow! And Loretta Lynch, she was with the Obama administration. She was like the HHS secretary, attorney general. That's right. Yeah. After who was
before Eric Holder.
Right before Eric Holder. That's right. Yeah, Loretta Lynch. That's wow.
Yeah, it was very cool. But I was in communication with one of the doctors who was on that commission as well, Dr. Tom Friedan. I hope I'm pronouncing his name correctly, but he was on this panel.
I've heard of his name. I've heard his name somewhere around.
Cool. And he was the one who encouraged me to testify, and we talked about some of the things that were happening here in Ocala and in Central Florida more generally. And so my hope is that with the release of this report, prisons around the country are going to be able to reevaluate how they.
Could you send me a copy of it, like a PDF? I just like to have it to say I know the person who was involved in this, because I'm so.
Well, there were many. I mean, probably dozens, if not hundreds, of people who submitted testimony to this. So I was by no means like the only authority here.
I don't care. I'm almost like a proud parent. It's like at the school play, there's like 15 kids up there and you're like, but that's my kid singing that part of, you know what I mean? I'm just so, I'm glad that even if it's just a tiny little scintilla of an effect, in your education that I was somewhere in it, because you're just amazing. All of you that were on the team have done amazing things.
Much more than a scintilla. Okay, you had a huge impact on my entire high school experience. Really, I could not imagine having gone through Vanguard High School, having experienced what I did without you there and a part of it.
Well, you know, like Lisa, you know, everybody's doing stuff like, you know, Lisa McLean. You remember Lisa? Well, she's a nurse
at Monroe.
Yeah, at Advent, and I haven't talked with her in a while now, a few months, but we were when COVID first, you know, hit. Lisa and I talked pretty regularly, and then another student I had in earth science. Now she's, I guess, you know, 22, 23. She, you know, she was ninth grader in earth science in one of my classes. A young woman named Rachel Berry. She is, I don't think she's doing it now because she's marrying a guy who's getting ready to be a police officer or something. But she was a phlebotomist at a plasma center up in Jacksonville. So she was very affected by COVID.
Yeah.
And I regularly, almost every night, they would get a hold of me and we would just, you know, talk. I'd say like, how's your day going? How was your day? How do you feel? Have you eaten, you know, here, have some chicken soup, you know? But I remembered like when I worked in Ground Zero and being in, and not like I was there every day all the time. Don't get me, I don't want to give that impression, but I needed someone to talk to at the end of the day after doing something like that. And so I could feel for them. And so I would I'd check in with them, you know, every day or two and just say, hey, how are you doing today? You know, did you sleep okay last night? How are your dreams? You know, are you processing this all right? Because I still, you know, I care about them. I care about you. You know, and you know, just like that.
I was gonna say on that very Hallmark note, I have to leave. I'm so sorry. I have a meeting. I'm on the Journal of Race and Law at Columbia. So
holy crap! When the truth comes out, man, that like I'm the biggest drug smuggler in the world, you are going to get me off the hook because you are just you're going to be an amazing lawyer one day. I'm not. I'm only the second biggest.
Imposter syndrome so bad, and I remember the last time I saw you, I think at the commissioners meeting, you told me that grad school is this constant feeling of just being overwhelmed and feeling like you're always
never. I'll say it again. In undergrad, I used to tell my students, I go, look, you know, you can actually, if you do it right and you're responsible about it, you can even party some in college. However you define partying. I don't mean like smoking crack cocaine or going to a keg party every night, but you can have a few beers or whatever. And
I don't know how I found the time to do that at college. And now I'm working all the time. I have no time to do
Well, see, that's the thing. Like in college, if you're really studious and you're dedicated though, you can be caught up at least some of the time. You can, I've got all my reading done, or I'm where I need to be on this research paper and this other project. But grad school, from the moment, if you're doing it right, you never are caught up. It's just a 3-year or whatever, how many years you're there.
Because I am so behind.
Yeah, well, you just keep plugging it out. And, you know, I don't know, I didn't go to law school, but I knew law school students and med students when I was in Louisville. And I don't know. It's just like with seminary, if you do it right, it's pretty hectic. And I don't know if if it's that the first year is the hardest and it gets better, or if it's that you get used to it. And so by the time you get in your second and third year, you're just kind of used to the fact that you're screwed.
So for law school, I've heard that your first year, they scare you. And then the second year is when they actually work you. So that doesn't really bode well for me because I'm feeling pretty worked right now. But yeah, it's the first year, I think, because it takes such an adjustment to get used to the workload, the new environment, and also the environment among your peers as well. It's definitely not as collaborative as it was in undergrad.
Right.
There's a lot of people who could really use a Xanax. And it's just different.
Did you get the old speech of like, look to your left, look to your right? Like after this semester, one of you won't be here.
And they said that they were going to try and not create that kind of an environment from the first day, but yeah, they mentioned it.
Seminary was really lousy in the respect that it was just like that, but it was passive aggressive. When I was in New York, not so much, but at Louisville, you know, it was, but you know, you're trying to get, well, I understand, say your second career, you're married, you have a couple kids. I mean, you need an income, obviously, versus someone like me, like it's like the most I ever made, you know, I was in seminary before I taught. So I was a line cook, right? I made like the most I ever made in a year was like $20,000 or something. And there were people there that were like, oh, I was a lawyer and now I'm in ministry. Oh, I made $100,000 a year and I'm only going to make $50,000 preaching. When I got my church for $40,000, I was like, I'm rich, right? And I I can afford a used car now, and
well, lifestyle inflation is a real thing. If you get used to a certain capacity, a certain way of living, it's just
the thing was, you'd see these people going like it was like that Southern, bless your heart thing where you really are like cutting someone down, but you say bless your heart with it, and it sounds like it's nice. It was like that, you could see there were people that were being very competitive about getting like the big steeple church, right? The first church. But they weren't as blatant about it as you might see in med school or law school or something like that. So that made it more frustrating to me.
Had it worse though, because there must have been so much virtue signaling and just all the bullshit. I mean, who wants that?
And I was like the guy that no one figured would get anywhere, which I kind of haven't. But I was like the guy that wore my pajamas to class, or like I did not care. I would but I made great grades. I mean, I did my work. I did fine. But I just didn't put off the image, of like, I didn't go to class in business casual, you know what I mean? Or something like that. I was just like, during finals week, it was like in baseball, they have weird superstitions. Like if I'm on a hitting streak, then I don't like change my socks or something, that kind of thing. Yeah, baseball has really weird superstitions. But I was this thing like on finals week, going into it, I would already be strung out from studying. And so I would go in probably in some t-shirt I'd slept in for 4 or 5 days already. But if my first day of finals week, I felt good coming out of the test, like, man, I nailed that exam. I did not change my clothes for the week. I might not even shower. I mean, I would go like by the end of the week, I might have gone, and I might already be a day or two without a shower going into the first final because I was studying all weekend. And so, I would just, I had this Harvard sweatshirt, lightweight Harvard sweatshirt I picked up at nationals. I was at the national NAQT championships for, colleges. I think it was 90. It was in 2000. We did lousy that year. We did terrible. But it was April in Boston and I'd forgot. It was kind of cold up there and I didn't really have anything but a windbreaker. So I got a sweatshirt and I cut the sleeves off of it. And I wore that all the time. I mean, it had like stains on it. Like, it was just disgusting after a few years. And it was my favorite. It was so comfortable. It was my favorite shirt. And I would like wear it all week during finals. And I actually had a friend, Ben Robbins, and one day in class, he and his wife both were going to school there. And Ben said to me one day, he's like, man, that shirt's starting to stink, dude. That's just a nasty shirt. You like burn that thing. But if you burn it, the EPA might come and fine you for polluting the air or something. And then he says to me, he goes, man, I wish I could wear a shirt like that to class. My wife would kill me. Besides, she wouldn't let me, she would kick me out of the house anyways for wearing it because it's just so nasty. But I wish I could. I'm like, come on, Ben. But yes, I was that guy. I was that student, I'm
not going to be that student.
No, you're way too professional and way too nice. I was, if I had a good week in finals, I just didn't want to tweak anything from that first day. So I brushed my teeth, slap on a little deodorant. But basically I wore the same like pajama pants and sweatshirt all week.
Well, it obviously worked out. You're doing well. Everything.
I'm not doing that well. If I was doing well, I'd be Joel Osteen, right?
I think you've lived a life. Okay, you told me stories about things that you've experienced, places that you've gone, and that's something that not a lot of people truly do.
Well, I actually don't think being in ministry is about making money. It's one of the sad. I think this is the problem with COVID, with masking, is that the United States is not. We don't give a damn about each other. We're not a community.
It's really sad.
We're not a tribe. We're an economic machine. Yeah. The U.S. is an economic machine.
You insofar as you can get me some money.
Yeah. What is the sole purpose of a corporation? It's not to protect the environment. It's not to protect the community. Generate profits for shareholders. That's right. So I think that's kind of the U.S. as a whole. Yeah. We need to have a gross national happiness like Bhutan. Pop quiz before you get off the show. What was the first question I asked all of you at the very first practice?
Oh no.
That you were with me in Quiz Bowl in high school. And then you guys ended up having a question about it. It was either in a clue or it was the answer to the question. I cannot remember, but it was at a tournament and y'all didn't know it. And I was sitting behind you keeping score. And when they gave the answer, All four of you turned around, just looked at me with the most forlorn, like your eyes were down.
Oh no, I don't know.
What is the capital of Bhutan?
Oh.
The country where they measure the success of the country by gross national happiness rather than gross national product. What is the capital of Bhutan?
Hold on. Let me think.
Come on, team captain. You have 3 seconds to answer. You missed.
What is it? Is it not Thimphu or something?
I only got to use the X on somebody.
It was. You got to tell me what it is.
Thimphu.
Why you said that? Well, admittedly, when you did the X.
She was too late. See, that's how the game works. You got 3 seconds. You didn't get your 10 points.
Sad. Okay.
Yeah, Thimphu. Thimphu is the anglicized spelling of it. Yeah.
All right,
Thimphu, capital of the Dragon
Kingdom.
All
over again. Taken back to high school. Yeah, you're right. I do remember getting asked that once, and I remember it was a brutal blow when we lost that question.
My ultimate bucket list item is to hike Bhutan. There's 2 trails over there. One is called the Great Himalaya Trail, which right now just runs across Nepal, but ultimately it's supposed to run from like the Karakoram Range or something in India, like all the way across Bhutan, like it's like 1,700 miles or something. And then the other one is the Snowman Trek. It's rated the toughest trek in the world, toughest trail. It's like the Mount Everest.
If you had trouble walking up that incline on that mountain from a couple of years back, I think you're going to have to reassess this.
Oh no, I climbed a 14,500 foot peak.
Very slowly, as you told it, and I don't know if that bodes well for you with this particular.
But you know, it was cool when I got to the top. I have a Facebook friend, Pasang Sherpa. He runs like an expedition thing. He's a steerdar. He's a head Sherpa.
Oh wow.
And we're friends on Facebook. And when I got to the top, I was the only one on the summit because I summited so late. Mm-hmm. And he was actually on Messenger with me, like saying, "Isn't the view great?" Blah blah blah. And it was so kind of humbling because this guy he climbs Everest. You know, the base camp for Everest is at 17,900 feet. Is the base camp out? The base camp, not the mountain. The base camp. Yeah. So I'm at 14,400 feet, and where he starts climbing is 4,000 feet higher. And he's all like congratulating me like it's this big deal. And that was so very kind of him and very humbling for me.
I can imagine. We got to talk about Everest one of these days. I'll come back on and have a full conversation.
You need to. I want to hike up to Everest Base Camp. You can do it with me, but you're probably going to have to be able to do a few push-ups by then.
I genuinely considered taking some time off, a couple of years to train, and then ultimately climb Everest after college. And the reason that I didn't is because after doing my research and watching the documentaries and reading the books, I just got so freaking scared. I don't like embarking on journeys where the probability of emerging alive is like 50-60%.
No, the odds of surviving Everest is better than that. I would say 80%.
I don't like. Let me rephrase. I don't like embarking on any journeys or adventures where the odds of me emerging back alive are not 100%. Okay?
So, like, basically, a big adventure for you would be Space Mountain at Disney World, right?
I was too scared for Space Mountain.
I would say the Caribbean or something. I survived the pirates 100%.
Well, I couldn't do Space Mountain, and you're making me feel bad. And on that note, I really do have to go. I have this meeting at 10. How do I get out of here? Can I just?
You can like log out. I'll just. Here you go. We gotta do it one more time
again. Okay.
I just had to do it. Hey, y'all! Seriously, man, she's amazing. She was one of the captains on the high school JV quiz bowl team that I coached at my old high school 7-8 years ago. And she was the whole year, she was the person I wanted as captain on the A team. But I'm sort of, maybe it goes back to my own drill sergeant. When I was in boot camp, the first day of boot camp, my drill sergeant says, like, okay, who here, thinks they're up to being a squad leader? Because you got 4 squads in the platoon. And so maybe, I don't know, 10 or 12 of us, come forward. So he's going down the rank, like, well, why do you think you should be a squad leader? And, some guys like, I was in JROTC in high school. Okay. One guy said, I have a 2-year degree in like hotel and restaurant management, which the sergeant just dropped him for push-ups on the spot. Though having now been in the industry for a long time, maybe there's a little credibility there. When he got to me, I was the last one. And he says, so why should you be a squad leader? And I said, I said, Sergeant, I'm an Eagle Scout. And so he looked at me and he goes, you are. Name 3 ways to start a fire without matches. And I said, flint and steel, bow and drill, and optical. And he's like, all right. He did not make me a squad leader, though. And so then few weeks into boot camp, whatever it was, I forget how long, he basically shit canned all the squad leaders. And so he made this big speech in front of us about, okay, whoever really thinks they're up to this now, no games. And I didn't go up again. And then we were out doing like a run or something. And I pulled him aside. I said, Sergeant, may I speak with you? He says, yes. So he and I had a one-on-one, and I said, I'm up for this. And he says, I was waiting for you. The long story short, I basically was, well, why didn't you ask me? And he says, because you needed to let me know. Like, I didn't want to put it on you. I wanted to see you ask for it again. And so that's how I was with Gita. We had several, all guys that, I'm going to be captain and I'm going to, whatever. And they didn't work out, either they'd get too worked up in competition, or they were too, they just didn't manage the team well, kind of autocratic, or because, teenage guys, come on, I was a teenage guy. Teenage guys are just really jerky as a rule. And I was waiting all through the school year. Like I'm waiting for Gita to step up. And she did. And we were in a practice, and I mean, as soon as she captained that team, I was like, this team is going to gel. She's it. And I had known it the first day I met her, but I knew if I, put her in that chair, it wouldn't be the same as her, wanting to be in that chair. And also the other players wouldn't respect her the same way. So yeah, she's amazing. Gita went to, she was an IB student here, and she went to Penn, to the Wharton School. Right. Except unlike Trump, who, got some idiot to take he was the idiot. So he had some smart person, take his SAT, and, who knows what he made for grades, probably like a 1.5. Who knows? He won't say. But Gita is not that person. Gita made incredible grades. And now she's in her first year in Columbia Law School, which is, amazing. Anyways, so anyone else want to come on? Oh, you know what? I forgot to put here we go. This is all you got to do. You see this, it says StreamYard.com and whatever. Just put that in your browser. You can come up on the show. And I invited a few people. And Adam Nation, where are you? Mitch told me you wanted to be on the show, Adam. And so where you at, bro? Let me see. Did you message me after I sent you the thing? I don't know. Where you at, bro? Let's see. Let's look here. On my phone. Sean Straken, sent him one, yeah. Richard Rowe. I found out I got a new friend, Richard Rowe. He ran for state house here. He lost the Democratic primary, but he ran. And I voted for him. And the reason why was he was an industrial progressive. And especially when you live in a place like, say, Central Florida, and you see a person running as an industrial progressive, you're just kind of like, I mean, that could be one of two things. Industrial progressive could be one of two things. Either A, you're definitely a interesting individual running for office, or B, it's some kind of music. Industrial progressive sounds like, I don't know, like I don't know what that would sound like. Industrial. I should put that in YouTube and see what comes up. Let's do that. Let's try that out. Industrial progressive music. Let's do it. Richard, Richard is watching the Young Turks, which is a great show. And he sent me a message. He says, dude, do you realize that your live stream is competing against TYT? And I knew he meant Young Turks. I'm like, I can't help it, man. My roommate goes to sleep early, and it's her house. And I can't, I would probably be doing this 9 to 11 or 8 to 10. I'm going to have to work something out. I go sit on the curb at McDonald's and do this live stream. Just have my laptop like in my lap, sit out in the drive-through, and go buy a couple of Big Macs so they don't kick me off the property. And, I don't know, sit outside. It'll be cooling down here pretty soon, even in Florida. So I'll be sitting out there in January, it'll be 32 degrees out or something, and eating Big Macs and a chocolate shake, talking to you on let's see, industrial progressive Uh-oh, somebody's about to come on, and it is B. Arthur. Hey, what's up? You're sideways. There you go.
There we go.
If you heard the phrase industrial progressive music, what would you expect? Here we go. It is a search term on YouTube. What would you expect to hear for progressive industrial progressive music?
Probably like Nine Inch Nails, but political.
Okay, well, let's see. I just looked it up. Okay, here's one. It's an hour and 21 minutes and 20. It's future underground progressive and intelligent trance mix. So this is gonna be. I hate trance. It's a little too much for me.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna try it. Let's see what happens. They'll probably block all this, and I'll get in trouble from the music people.
Probably.
Let's try it though. Oh man, I got my headphones. Let's see if I can shut off my headphones here. I'll be right back. Hang on.
Okay. Did it really break already?
Coming back. All right. So we'll put away my AirPods and we'll see if I can get it to come up on my speaker now. And we'll try this out. And we'll see what industrial progressive trance music would sound like.
Yeah.
Here we go. Okay, this is supposed to be industrial progressive. Can you hear that, B?
I can.
Oh, I need to put on my headphones and I can hear you. Can you hear that?
Nope.
No?
Nope.
Oh, well.
Oh, yes, now I can.
Could you now?
Yeah, a little bit. A little trancy.
It is very trancy. I'm going to put a to come in.
Yeah.
That's not what I thought industrial progressive would sound like at all. I'm disappointed.
Yeah.
Let's try one. We'll just try one. Oh, here's okay. This is industrial dark trance. This might be good. This is like real Halloween-y kind of sounding. Like Freddy Krueger's about to show up or something. Don't go to sleep. Dun dun dun. Dun dun dun. Dun 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 dun. I'm picturing Overture for the Common Man here, actually. Nah. I don't know, but I think if Richard would have had like like TV ads or something, online ads, for his campaign, he could have played like industrial progressive music, but that would have scared everybody. Nobody would have voted for him, except the cool people, maybe. I don't know. So what you been up to, Martha Stewart, punk rock person?
Well, I was actually coming on because I wanted to talk about something.
Yes.
And I'm just trying to look up. Well, okay, that was his name. Did you?
Am I in trouble? Whenever someone does, am I in trouble?
No.
Okay, good. All right.
So last time we were talking about the intersection of mental health and Black Lives Matter.
Yes.
And I mentioned how, when somebody's having a mental health crisis, how that can be deadly.
Are we going to talk about Philadelphia by any chance?
Yes. Walter Wallace Jr. having a bipolar episode, shot dead by 2 police officers at the same time.
14 rounds.
Yep. And that's what I wanted to come on and talk about today was I just had to Google his name to make sure I had it.
Walter Wallace Jr.?
Yep. Walter Wallace.
I've seen some of it on the news, but I hadn't caught his name yet.
Yep.
So Walter Wallace Jr.
Walter Wallace Jr. is his name. It's important to say his name, of course.
Yes.
And so that's what I wanted to come on and talk about because I didn't know if you'd heard the story yet or anything, but it's
I've even seen the video twice.
I cannot watch the videos of people being killed by police. I couldn't even watch the video of Saddam Hussein being executed. It's like that level. Like I can't watch people being killed. But but yeah, I wanted to talk about it because when I heard about the story on NPR, I was in the car and I was like, this is exactly that thing I was talking to Gene about not that long ago. That these police encounters, and when the family called,
they wanted an ambulance.
Yes, they wanted an ambulance. They specifically said an ambulance, not police, because they knew that this was a Black man having a bipolar episode. And, you know, when I say this as a white female presenting person, I had to tell my husband, I was like, my God, if I ever have another manic episode or anything, please, please, please don't call cops. Just lure me into the car, whatever you got to do.
I'm the same way. One of my biggest fears is if I ever had a mental health incident, because, you know, I'm bipolar, police getting involved. It scares the crap out of me. Exactly.
But that's what I wanted to come on and talk about, was that, you know, obviously not in like an I was right kind of way, but in a what I was talking about is important kind of way. And it needs to be discussed more, that we need to talk about the intersection of mental health and Black Lives Matter. That's what I had. That's it.
All right. You have a great laugh.
Thanks.
No, yeah, you know, it's, and you know, and I can't speak as a Black person, but I know from my studies and speaking with, actually primarily Black women I've known, more than men, but in ministry and Black women who've been counselors, therapists, things like that I studied with, in grad school and whatnot, that, the whole mental health picture, it's all intersectional, tying into, the Black life experience, as they put it, economics, just all of it, that mental health treatment it's a whole different ballgame in the African-American community than, say, in the white middle class community. It's how it's viewed and things. I've heard this from people telling me this.
Yeah, there's not as much trust in the Black community, in the medical community. And that goes back to things like the Tuskegee experiment. Right. And also that mental health and getting treatment for depression and that sort of thing is seen as a white thing to do. So there is a stigma even in that culture. And I'm saying that as somebody from the outside who has listened to a lot of podcasts, who has listened to a lot of speakers, who has listened to a lot of people talk about the subject. So that's where my information on that comes from.
I think some of it too comes into economics, is that well, I mean, the average earning, what an average Black person in America makes is less than an average white person. So you're talking about a economic situation, just like when I was a line cook, right? You know, it's very interesting when I came into seminary, there was almost I call it economic presupposition that everybody had come in, had kind of been doing okay for themselves to, I don't know, make it that far in school or something. And so my experience had been the military and kitchens. And kitchens, it's, I'm not saying there's not racism in kitchens. I'm not even going to say that. But it's kind of like you're in there and you got your Black brothers and sisters and you're brown and you're all working that line and that's a trench warfare against the servers or something. But there's still, it's that buckle up buttercup. You know, you don't see line cooks or dish dogs. And when I say dish dogs, that's a term of endearment, by the way. To be called a dish dog is an honor. But yeah, you don't see people like that going to the therapist.
No.
One, because they probably don't have coverage. They couldn't do it if they wanted because of scheduling. A million reasons, but also it's that, dude, this is a tough occupation. Life is hard. Toughen up.
Hard. Bootstraps, toughen up. Yeah.
That's right. What do you think you are? What do you think you are? An accountant or something? You know? Right. Toughen up. Do those dishes. You know, it's like that.
It's almost seen as an epitome of privilege to be able to go. Because I remember I started going to therapy when I was in the restaurant world, and now I'm going back into the restaurant world.
My prayers are with you. I might be doing the same. I'm investigating. I was actually talking with the manager at Sayulita here in Ocala Sunday about it.
Yeah, I was hired to start on at Ford's Garage, which is a burger chain, kind of like Red Robin, but with like a mechanic.
Yeah, I think I've heard of it. Are they good?
They are. They're really good.
Do they have beer? Do they have beer?
They do. They do have beer.
They have good beer.
They do have good beer. They have Sculpin on tap, at least at the one I'm at. So.
All right.
I mean, and that's like one of my favorite beers to have on tap is Sculpin. But yeah, so
isn't that a fish? Isn't Sculpin a fish?
It is a fish. It is a
fish. I grew up watching Jacques Cousteau when I was a kid. So Sculpin.
Yeah, Ballast Point Sculpin is the name of the beer. It's a West Coast IPA, very grapefruity, very piney, delicious. And the Sculpin itself is a fish. A pretty ugly fish, honestly.
Yeah, they're real ugly. Yeah.
Yeah, they're not cute.
It's also playing, as Gita was just on here, who, was on the high school quiz bowl team. And you just learn a lot of inane stuff like that when you play like, college bowl or quiz bowl like I did, like the Sculpin. What's a Sculpin?
True. I'm one of those, I'm really, really good at trivia night at the bar. I won many a bar tab in my day. And just because I'm a wealth of just ridiculous random information, I would be great on a game show. Not sure where else I'd be useful.
In college bowl, you could be on my team any day if you know what a Sculpin is. That's and Gita. The first question I ever asked my JV team, first thing I was like, "Hello, my name is Mr. Anderson. I'm your coach. What's the capital of Bhutan?" And they just look at me like, "Bhutan," and I'm like, "Look, you need to know these things." And they were actually at a tournament, and that was one of the questions, and they didn't get it, and they just looked back at me like, ooh. And I told them, I said, y'all broke my heart. I said, not because you didn't get the question right, but that's your coach's favorite country in the world. Like you broke my heart, man, that you didn't know that. It's not like, you need to know the capital of Nepal. It was my favorite country. How could you do that to me? And they were all, oh, Mr. A, we're so sorry. But, so how you been doing lately?
Good. Like I said, I'm going back into the restaurant world right after the election is done. I am working as a poll worker.
Tell us about that. What's that? What is that experience? I feel kind of bad. I didn't do it. I know several people doing it, and I probably should have stepped in and in the breach. But what's it been like doing that?
It's been really interesting. I will tell you, it's been really, really interesting because there is so much misinformation. So we'll have people come up and they have their mail-in ballot and they're like, I don't want to use this because I don't trust it. So what do I need to do with it? And those are actually the easiest people because it's like, okay, just you hand that ballot to me. We're going to destroy it. I'm going to mark through it with a big old Sharpie so it can't be counted.
And then they just go ahead and vote.
And then you can go ahead and vote, no big deal. And then there's other folks who are convinced that I'm going to take their mail-in ballot, give them the ballot so they can vote, and then I'm going to fill out their mail-in ballot for them and then vote for them.
Oh, wow.
And there's so much misinformation. And the truth is, it's like, that's why we mark it in front of you. Because if there's wayward marks on your ballot, it won't count.
Right.
We can't do anything with it. And we destroy it. And they're like, is there video of you guys destroying it at the end of the day? I'm like, no, no. But we're destroying it in front of you. Then we further destroy it later. Calm down, guys.
You know what really has me worried? I was listening to Gita, and then I got off on some stupid rabbit trail. But I was watching, I think it was Rachel Maddow last night was talking about it. That it's 7 days till the election yesterday, and they're saying, look, if you have a mail-in ballot, basically in the U.S., do not mail it.
Yes,
do not. To a Dropbox now because it's not going to. It may not make it in time. And they were showing. I think it was Pennsylvania, Wisconsin. It was maybe Georgia. There were 4 or 5 states she showed. Like it was like, okay, here's Pennsylvania. Roughly speaking, it was like, okay, 3 million ballots were requested for, say, mail-in voting. And at this point in time, like 1.5 million. It's like 50, maybe 60% in some cases have been actually returned. And I'm sitting here just thinking, I'm thinking back to the George Carlin sketch when he says, just think about how stupid the average person is. Just picture the average person and then realize that 50% of people in the world are dumber than that. I mean, that's not my words. I'm not trying to put people down. That was George Carlin, right? But it's like I'm thinking to myself, like, oh my gosh, man.
Yeah.
Like, you got 1.5 million of those out there.
Mm-hmm.
You can't tell me what I know about human nature that that 1.5 million votes are going to make it to a Dropbox. Right. Half those people are going to mail them.
Yeah, half those people are going to mail them.
And their votes won't count.
And I'm also going to say quite a few people, as somebody who's doing this every day, quite a few people are coming in to the early voting with their mail-in ballot.
Oh, I hope so.
I don't want to use this. I want to vote in person. And it's okay, gimme. Now, the only thing is, I'll tell you, if you do that, you do have to surrender your ballot if you have it on you. If you don't have it on you, we're going to tell you to destroy it once you get home because it won't count anyway.
Right.
But if you have it on you, you have to surrender it. You
Right.
cannot bring it onto the floor. You cannot use it as a cheat sheet. To have 2 active ballots at the same time is a felony.
Right. Yeah, you go to jail for that.
You can go to jail for that. I can go to jail for that, for aiding and abetting you. I'm not doing that. You have to turn your ballot in, your mail-in ballot. You can take a picture of your ballot if you want to cheat sheet it. You can write down your answers if you want to, or you should know who you're voting for, but I'm not your judge, whatever. But you must, if you bring in your mail-in ballot, be prepared to turn it in. I am telling you, and I'm telling all of your viewers, be prepared to turn in your ballot. It is a felony to have 2 ballots at the same time. Please don't make me aiding and abetting a felon.
What is the masking like? What's the COVID prevention, whatever like? I mean, are people coming in with masks on or not? Or how do y'all deal with that?
So in Pinellas County, we do have a mask order. Everybody has to wear a mask if you're indoors. There is also a social distancing order in place. But here's the thing. We are not turning voters away. If a voter comes to the poll, they do not want to wear a mask. What the deputy is going to do, the person who's outside opening the door for you, they will offer you a mask and say, here, would you like one? If you say, no, thanks, I don't want one, you will still be allowed to go in. You will still be allowed to vote without a mask. We will not force you. You might have several people asking you and offering you a mask, but we will not force you and we will not turn you away.
I would like to have voted in person because I thought I was going on this road trip. So I had one day to vote. So I went and I got my ballot, turned it into the drop box. It was kind of cool because I went to Sayulita and had a beer and listened to Metallica in my headphones while I voted, which you can't do either of those things at a polling place.
No.
Maybe you can have your headphones in. I don't know, but I was kind of little, just all the talk about, Trump's trying to mess up the Postal Service to, repress the vote. And I was just like, but I was assured that, my vote would count. I put it in the drop box. Like, gosh, this was 2 weeks ago. So.
Yep. Oh,
is that a cat?
No, that's Finn. That's an 85-pound dog.
I was going to say, because you just went black, man. It's like, I'm looking at the dog's butt or something. Was that just this giant
the whole rank of a dog? Yeah.
It's like Beowulf just walked across the screen or something.
Yeah, that was my 85-pound baby.
Wow.
He weighs more than my
Lynn. My dad, we had a couple that were over a little ways, like in the housing complex. And we used to go over their house for dinner once in a while. And they had a Saint Bernard.
Ooh.
And I was 7 years old. And I used to have a red blanket or something. And I used to go out and bullfight with the Saint Bernard out in the yard before dinner. I would go over there, wave the blanket, right? He would charge. And one day he ran me over. My mom got really worried. She thought I had been trampled to death or something.
Yeah.
He just what did I weigh at 7 years old wet? Probably 50 pounds. I don't know. And there's this big giant Saint Bernard. He got a good running start from probably 50 feet away and just ran me over. I probably was like Beetle Bailey after Sergeant Snorkel got a hold of him. And so, my mom was like, oh my gosh. My dad's like, they're just having fun. Don't worry about it. I didn't hear any bones break. He'll be okay. And I jumped up and me and the dog start playing. But it's like I got tackled by by a small horse, basically.
I dated a guy very briefly. I didn't like him very much, but I kept seeing him because I liked his dog. And he had a Saint Bernard that I really, really liked. So I kept going over to see this guy just so I could hang out and pet his dog.
Man, I forgot to go to my comments, and I realized you've been commenting all this time, B. That's probably why you come on the show. The only way I've really got to work on this. So yeah, okay, so real quick. So 16-minute mile. Oh, okay, all right. Okay, yeah.
Talking about running at the very beginning. I was like, yeah, I'm more like a 16-minute mile.
Today was, well, they call it Everest. They do it a couple times a year there where the treadmills go up to 15%. So you do this thing where you start at like 1%. And like every minute you go up a degree or something, and then you come down. And it's called doing the Everest. And the Hell Week workout today was basically that. It was a little different. You went up 2 degrees and down, but it was the same thing. And I was really, I'm just really sore from the last few days. And my hip flexors especially, and I've learned they're my weak spot. I've hurt both of them at the gym where like I couldn't go for a week and a half because I could hardly eat. Like I sit down on the John, I had to hold on to the sink, man, or I would have crashed. You know, I know. So I was feeling that way today. And I was like, okay, I'm going to go, but I'm just going to walk. You know, I'm just walking. So I walked it at 4 miles an hour. So that's a 15-minute mile.
Yep.
And it beat the snot out of me. I had like, I was all in the red today. Like they would call it Green Day, which is, you have the color code. So green is like, you're not up kind of I'm really burning off the fat, but I'm working hard. It's kind of you're at your base and you're just going. And then you go up for periods into the orange and red. So I do what I call a Green Day, which is like, okay, I'm not half stepping, but this is sort of a active recovery day. I'm not going to run. I'm going to walk, or I'm going to lift a little lighter weight, or, you know, that kind of thing. Not row quite as hard, kind of a recovery day. No, man, I was all up in the red just walking. It was brutal. And tomorrow I have a friend who, she's a member there, but she hasn't been in a while. And so she's actually going to come tomorrow. And it's Hell Week, which is a hell of a time to come back.
Yeah.
And so I told her, I said, well, you know, tomorrow I'm going to work, not literally right beside, because they have gaps now, you know, it's fewer people in the class for social distancing. But I said, I will work out. I will start on the rower with you, and I will work out by you, adjacent to you. And then that way I can help encourage you, and you can kind of maybe say, hey, Sailor, slow down a little bit now. You don't be trying to run today.
Right.
Kind of thing, you know. We'll see how it goes.
I was thinking about joining the Orange Theory here in Clearwater because I've seen your posts and it's so inspiring.
It's great. And it's like I say, and it's not a jock club.
Yeah.
You don't have to, it's not like you want to go over and into the free weight room and there's these guys with like biceps the size of your head and they're all grunting and looking at you like, what are you doing over here, little girl? You know, that kind of thing. It's not like that at all.
I canceled my Planet Fitness membership because of COVID.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm kind of working out at home right now. I have an exercise bike. I'm walking my neighborhood. I'm doing some weights at home, that sort of thing, just to stay active so I don't gain any weight.
You know, Orange Theory has at-home workouts, and they post them on YouTube, which I guess you would go look up Orange Theory, subscribe. I guess that's probably the thing, Orange Theory. And every day, because there are some Orange Theories that haven't been allowed to open at all. For, 6 months. And so they started back March, early April, having a at-home workout. It was really funny because they assume not everybody has, say, a set of dumbbells at home.
Right.
So they had like, it'd be like, okay, deadlift would be like, okay, take 2 jugs of wine and, you know, it's pretty,
whatever you got.
Pretty cool. Exactly. Gallons of milk. Yeah. You know, Spartan Racing, they're famous for the bucket. 5-gallon bucket.
Pictures with the bucket behind your head.
Yeah, that was the bucket carry. You can actually buy buckets from them. They're kind of overpriced, but they'll come with gear like a climbing rope or mini bands or whatever, you know. But the bucket carry is when the men's bucket. Well, I'm trying to remember now. I'm not going to remember this well. They might be like, I want to say 75 pounds.
75. Okay.
They might be less, maybe 55 or 60, something like that. And then the women's bucket's less. It's 35 or 40 pounds, something like that. Okay. And it used to be you had to carry them in front and like from the bottom. Ooh. And they changed it last year that you can put them up, you know, behind your head and go. And that's the easy one. The sandbags are rough. And when I did the race this January, it was like we were up to our like hips in a swamp, basically carrying these sandbags, and they loop around your neck. It's almost like a sandbag on each end with a thing in the middle, so they're around like a yoke.
Like the life preserver, but the opposite.
Yeah, And we were going through, it's like going through this swamp and muddy water, and you can't see in it. And it was anywhere from, say, ankle high to kind of up above your knees. And this is on me, it's 6 foot up to my knees. And somebody's slogging through it. And there's this one point, and this is kind of in a way my I had 2 highlights in the race. One is I got the spear throw. I had said, I don't care if I fail every obstacle, I'm going to make the spear throw. Yeah. And I'd never thrown a spear in my life. And I did it. And I was just like, and I said, fuck. I was like, and it was like actually the way they set up the course, there's sort of like, it was a viewing area, kind of central area. So say if you have family and friends or something. And that's, of course, that was one of the things that's right there where people can watch. And I did it. And I just go, fucking hey. And I turn around and look, and there was this mom with like an 8-year-old boy there. And she's just looking at me like, did you really have to say that in front of my kid? And I'm looking like, I'm sorry. I almost started doing penalty burpees for her, like, I mean, just like, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to do that. But when walking, I was up kind of above my knees, and there was actually a hole in the bottom under that water. And like somebody said, you hear people like, watch out for the hole, watch out for the hole. And I went down like up to my neck, basically. Oof. So now the sandbag's completely wet. So instead of weighing like, they weigh like, say, maybe 75 pounds, it probably weighs like 125 pounds now. But it's like I got down, and this guy behind me was like, hey, do you need a hand up? And I said, I got this. And I had one leg out, and I felt like, like something like 2001: A Space Odyssey, like when they threw the bone in the air. It was like this shit had the music, dun, 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 like rising up out of the mud. I got this mud coming off me. I'm just like, I am Iron Man, and I got through it. On Orange Theory, I recommend to anyone, and I'll tell the same story again that I was telling Geeta. My favorite thing, and I wasn't there, but it's my favorite video, was this guy. He was, I don't know, he was like in his upper 20s, very morbidly obese. Like basically, this was a situation where probably his doctor said, like, you have to lose weight, you'll die. I mean, he was very, very large. And so he got there and he starts working out. And for him, like rowing 1,000 meters wasn't the question. Just being able to sit down on the rower and get off the rower. Because you know how rowers are really low.
Oh,
and
yeah.
That was a workout. And the head trainer and the other trainers there would come in the days he worked out, I think 3-4 days a week. He would come in, this head trainer, and sit right beside him on the next rower and at the next treadmill, next weight station, and go through the workout with him at his pace.
That's
not
awesome.
dogging him, just encouraging him. So if it took him all day to row 2,000 meters, that guy was right there beside him all day, rowing with him. And so they had, it was the mile run or something. It was one of the running benchmarks that he's on the tread and he's running, and he's just probably going about, 15-minute mile or something. He's jogging. And he's running, and the whole gym, and it was like a 3G workout. So this was before COVID. There were 36 people in the workout, plus the trainer. So 37, 38 people in the room. And he's getting to the end of the run. It's like they show the last like 10th of a mile or something, the last couple hundred yards. And so he's running, you hear the music going, and there was a woman on either treadmill beside him, and they were like in shape. They were the kind of women that I look at there and go, like every cigarette I ever smoked in my life comes to my mind when I watch, just not even my running, just watching them run. I go like, dang, and so they're running beside him and they're, come on, you got this. And people are getting off their rowers and from the weight room, and everybody's coming up around the treadmill and they're just cheering him on. And it's like Chariots of Fire or something. And the whole place. Yeah. And when he finishes, when he hits like the mile or wherever he's running, he's like pumping his fist. And everybody's just like, it's this huge, like you think the ball just dropped in Times Square or something. And that's really what it's like. I've been to some other studios, and they're all pretty much like that. It's not a jock place.
Yeah.
There are some serious jocks that go to these things. And then there's people that, are like the doctor said, you have to do something or this is going to affect you in a very bad way. Yeah. And people are very supportive of each other. And actually, we don't do it as much now, especially with COVID, of course. In fact, we're not doing it at all. But in the past, like they'll have like social events. A lot of the places, like few times a year. It's like, hey, let's go to the Mexican restaurant up the street and have margaritas and eat nachos and just hang out and have a good time,
Yeah, that would be, I mean, I'm thinking once COVID clears up, because my area is getting a lot better, but you never know, it could spike again. Once it clears up, I think I'm going to join up with Orange Theory. They're texting me because I looked into it before. They're texting me almost every couple of days. Like, hey, B.
Yeah, they'll be on you, and you get a free workout. So, yeah. And I do it with two kinds of people. There's people like you that would be like, if you're in a house, say, hey, come down and do a free workout, and you can see what it's like because you're interested in joining. And then I have friends that talk shit, and I'm just like, hey, buddy, okay, you want to talk your smack about what you think you're all stud boy and everything? Come down and do a workout with me. I got a couple guys like that. They won't do it. There's one guy in particular. He, I don't know. I mean, he's uber libertarian, and he's got his assault weapon, and he's just Trump loses and all this stuff. And I told him, I was like, look, dude, I love you. He's like, you always have that one conservative friend that you're really tight with. Like this guy.
Yeah.
We've been through life things together. Like when my wife left me, he was the guy that would buy me a beer and commiserate with me at the bar. You know what I mean? And it happened the other way around too. So we're just always going to be like that. But he is uber conservative, and he seriously drank a gallon of the Kool-Aid. But he got an IV hooked up to him every night, dripping the Kool-Aid. And so he said something to me the other night about, he's just a warrior and all that or something. I said, bring your ass down to Orange Theory, man. Let's see what you can do. I said, because let me tell you something, buddy. 3 jobs of a soldier: shoot, move, communicate. Well, I guess you communicate okay. I'll assume, since you own this weapon, that you can shoot it well. But you don't look like you move to me like maybe a soldier ought to. So come on down. Show me what you can do, dude. And he won't do it. He won't. And honestly, it would do him some good. I'm worried about him health-wise a little bit. That it would do him some good. I think he still smokes and all. I smoke there. I don't get preachy about cigarettes. I don't do that. I'm not that guy. But I wish all my friends who smoke would quit. Cigarettes did me no good, right? And I think, how much money did I probably spend in 30 years? I mean,
well, that's just it. I mean, I had to realize that I was spending like $6 a day to make myself sick and smell bad.
Right? Yeah.
And I was getting bronchitis once a year at least. Mm-hmm. So I was literally making myself sick, and and I was smoking Newports, so I smelled like a pack of Newports all the time. It's not a great smell.
Newports could make you money in the Army when I was in Europe. There was I don't know what the thing was, but in Europe, you go to the PX, you could buy any brand of American cigarettes there were, except Newports. They did not sell Newports. This is back in the 80s. So if you came home on leave, even if you didn't smoke, the thing was you would go and buy Newports because you could bring them back. And so when I came home on leave from Europe and then went back over, and I had a sergeant who loved Newports, and he actually gave me some money, and he said, and it was more money than to buy the carton. He did not care. He's like, dude, will you buy me like a carton of Newports and bring them back? I'm like, yeah, sure. It might have been 2 cartons. I don't remember, but I do remember I had I think I bought 4 cartons, and 1 or 2 were for him. And then I had a carton that I sold by the pack. Like, you'd be at a barracks party, right? Everybody's had a few beers, and then you just pull out a pack of Newports. And you got to understand that, like, at the most expensive cigarettes on Arcasern in Germany, you could get, I think it was Marlboro Reds that they sold at the bowling alley, 65 cents a pack. This was 1983, 1984. They went up to 70 cents a pack, and people complained. I mean, that was the most expensive on post. Now, if you went and actually bought a carton, you could get a carton of Marbreds for $4.55. Now, you had a ration card. So you only get 4 cartons, but God, who needs more than that anyways? You'd be like dying. But, so you pull out a pack of Newport, or like in a nightclub, you pull out a pack of Newport, like you're sitting at the bar and you sit down a pack of Newports. Just set them down. Dude be coming up to you going like, here's $20, man. I want that pack of Newports. You wouldn't believe what you could make. Even better. And I did this one night. I had a pack of Newports, and I go down to this one nightclub off post, sit down at the bar, get a beer, just mind my own business. And I smoked menthols some back. I liked Newports back then. And Salem's. I used to like Salem's.
Yeah, me
and,
too.
So you could get Salem though. So I put in my pack of Newports, a packet, have one. Dudes be coming up offering you like $5 for a cigarette or something, or a buck. You know, it'd be like, yeah, I mean, $5, you know, or $3. What is? I mean, that's $60, man. You could make off a pack of cigarettes at one night in a nightclub. You could sell 20 Newports, a couple $3 a cigarette. It's like back in the 80s. Okay, so you could, man, you could pay for your whole weekend's drinking or something by simply sitting at a bar selling individual Newports to people.
Damn. Yeah, just
and it's not like you're price gouging. That would be the going rate. It's not like you're being a jerk about it.
No.
Anybody would pay that much for a Newport.
Yeah, that's just what they're offering. I remember, you know, back in the day, I'd open a pack of cigarettes and somebody would be like, "Oh, I'll give you $1 for a cigarette." Like, yeah, sure, man, whatever. So I definitely understand the logic there. And when you're having a nicotine fit and you really want a cigarette, you'll pay whatever it costs for that cigarette.
Best and worst cigarette I ever had in my life was the same cigarette. We were on I came back from Europe and I was in Colorado with the 4th Infantry Division, and we went back over to Europe. Like as soon as I get to the unit, they're like, prepare for overseas movement. We're going over, they called it Reforger. It was this huge military maneuver. It was a practice of like, what if the Russians invaded Europe, basically.
Okay.
And generally it was in September. But this one year they did it. It was a winter exercise. It was in like January, early February. And it just happened. It was the coldest winter since the Battle of the Bulge. I'm not kidding. It was the coldest winter in Europe. Like the two coldest winters before it were like 1944, Battle of the Bulge, and like the winter that Napoleon retreated from Moscow in like the 1800s. And, I mean, it was ass cold. But we went over. And I remember I just come over from Germany, right? So part of it, prepare for overseas movement, they get you up to date on your shots. So they told me I had to get a yellow fever vaccination. And I'm like, dude, we're going to Germany in the winter. I remember I'm looking at this medic in this gym. They take a big gymnasium and they run you through. And I'm like, look, I mean, I'm not like Joe National Geographic or anything, but are you aware that the yellow fever is sort of like a tropical disease that is spread by mosquitoes? And like the Anopheles mosquito, I believe, or maybe that's malaria, but so it's spread by mosquitoes in like Central America or something. And like we're going to Germany in like January, and it like, what are the odds I'm going to get yellow fever? And he says, look, man, just shut up. It's the Army, and the Army has this thing. Once they send you out of the U.S., you don't know where you might go. So
that is true.
I guess that was their theory. Is we're sending you to Germany, but really you're going to Malaysia. But anyways. We had to load a bunch of vehicles and stuff at a railhead, and then go on this train up to where did we go? Like up to Holland or someplace to do something with it, and then we were gonna be heading home in a while. But so we're riding on this train, regular old train. We were in a passenger compartment. If you've ever been to Europe, like the passenger compartments, though, they kind of fold out for beds, all that. So there's like, I don't know, there's like 6 of us maybe in this one compartment. And I was out of smokes. I didn't have any smokes. Everybody else had cigarettes. And like nobody would give me a cigarette. But everybody's smoking in this compartment. I don't know why I needed a cigarette. Because there was like a freaking cumulonimbus cloud of nicotine in that place. We were on the train for hours. Anyway, so we get to this depot out in the middle of nowhere in Holland. Get off the train. We got a couple of, smoke them if you got them. And me and my buddy Turk, who I went to visit in Oregon on my road trip, was with me. And he saved my life, basically. Because I'm standing by this, like where the train backs in, the train car. So we're up on like this loading dock, and the track's down here. And it's like, man, like 10 feet down to the track or something. It was some crazy distance. Like if you fell down in there, you could hurt yourself.
Yeah.
And I was searching. I'm thinking, man, dang it, man, somewhere I've got a cigarette, Turk didn't smoke then. He started later, but he didn't smoke. And I went down one of my ammo pouches and found a Camel non-filtered that, like, if you rolled it, it made noise. It was that, like, it was almost half empty of tobacco. Like this thing, I don't even know how long it'd been in there, because like you clean your gear after field problem, but this cigarette had been tucked down in the bottom of one of my ammo pouches for a long time, quite obviously. Oh, it was nasty. And so I lit it, and I hadn't had a cigarette all day, and I just take this huge huff of it, couple of hits. It was the worst, nastiest cigarette I ever had in my life, but it was so good. And I got this massive head rush from it. And got dizzy and almost fell off onto the tracks and would have been dead fall. I would have probably broke my back or something.
Yeah.
Turk grabbed me by my straps of my A gear.
Oh God.
And held me, like he kept me from falling. I was in a free fall. I was just like, whoa. And he grabbed me and pulled me back up and basically probably kept me from the very least being in the hospital for a couple of weeks. I would have been really messed up. And it was all over this cigarette. That's how good it was. The only time I got a head rush that good off a cigarette was it was actually a couple months before. I was at my grandmother's funeral in Wisconsin, and I didn't have any cigarettes at the public viewing. And my Uncle Joe, he was a truck driver. He had Chesterfield non-filtered. I'd never had a Chesterfield, which, by the way, was the cigarette the Blues Brothers smoked.
Oh, I know.
And my dad went out to chew some tobacco. We're out. This is like January in Wisconsin. It was cold. And I had on my Class A's and my overcoat, which really doesn't keep you warm at all. And I'm out there freezing my butt off. It was like 5 degrees or something. He's out there chewing it. He grew up there. He don't care how cold it is. And I'm smoking this shit. I'm hotboxing it, trying to get back inside. And I came back in and I sit down and I'm just like, I just had to sit down. I was like, oh. And my stepmom comes up to my dad like publicly in front of me like, did Gene go out there and get high or something? Like, because that was their whole word. They were all worried I'd go out and get high or do something. That's why he went out with me to make sure I wasn't smoking a joint. And
right.
He just says, no, man, Gene just hotboxed one of Uncle Joe's Chesterfields. He just can't. He's just trying not to throw up. I mean, I was not green. I was just like, ugh.
Yeah.
One other story about Chesterfields real quick. There was when I was bartending, I was bartending when I first got out of the Army at this big nightclub called Homer's Odyssey in Colorado Springs. And at the time, it sold more beer than any other place in Colorado except Mile High Stadium, which of course did it in the matter of a few home games and some concerts a year. But we were the biggest beer selling nightclub in the entire state of Colorado. And I was a bartender there. And for Halloween, they had this huge contest, Halloween contest. And it was big money. It's like $500 if you won first place. And these two guys come in as the Blues Brothers. And they had it down so good. They come in, they sat down at a table. And if you ever saw the movie poster where they're sitting at the table and like, I think it's like Jake Stanley Elwood's got his leg out. They posed like the movie poster. Like they had it down. They were the Blues Brothers.
I love it. One mistake.
And the staff, bartenders and bouncers, we were the judges of the costumes. They were finalists and they lost. They got second and they got really mad at me because they saw me at a party afterwards. And they found out. So I went to all the staff and I said, they cannot win. And they said, why? And I go, they're smoking Marlboros. When they pulled out a cigarette to smoke, they pulled out a Marlboro Red Pack. And I said, nope, Blues Brothers smoked Chesterfields. And so they got second place. And the guy who won was like a 7.5-foot Frankenstein.
Nice.
Oh, yeah. He had a great costume, too. But yeah, the Blues Brothers would have won hands down, but they had the wrong brand of cigarettes. And so I told them, so nobody would vote for them. And I was at a party later that night after hours that they were at. And they actually came up to me in character as the Blues Brothers. And they're like, so you're the guy that said we're smoking the wrong cigarettes, huh? Yeah. I'm like, yeah. Yeah, I think you gentlemen are policemen. I don't think you're really musicians at all. But yeah, they were kind of upset. But then they admitted later, they were like, yeah, I guess you're right. We should have had that part down. And I said, yeah, you can buy Chesterfields anywhere. You guys would be $500 richer if you'd smoked the right brand of cigarettes.
Right.
That's
awesome.
But, yeah, they did though. They were the Blues Brothers. They totally had it down. It was amazing. But wrong cigarettes. So, and that was one of my favorite movies. So they had to do it right, or it was either go big or go home.
Same. It's one of my favorites. I
love that movie.
Yeah.
What's your 3 favorite movies?
Oh God. Princess Bride is in there. Mm-hmm. Labyrinth is in there.
Mm-hmm. Good one.
Labyrinth is really good.
Never-ending story. You strike me as a never-ending story person.
I actually hate Never-ending Story.
Why? Because when the horse sinks in the mud?
No, I just thought it was the most boring shit I ever saw when I was a kid.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know. It just didn't click with me. I liked The Dark Crystal.
That was a good one, yeah.
But not Never-ending Story.
Dark Crystal was the Muppet one, right? They used Muppets in it. And then Labyrinth was the one with David Bowie. Am I right?
David Bowie, yep.
Right, yeah.
And then my other third one, I don't know. I mean, I'm tempted to put Empire Strikes Back in there, but I don't know.
My favorite movie is Apocalypse Now. Isn't that depressing?
That is depressing.
I was just, I don't know. I was half asleep the other night and I don't know what I was dreaming, but I woke up and the first thought that went through my head was the line, when they're in the mobile home, it says, terminate with extreme prejudice.
Yeah.
I don't know what what I was thinking about, but
that's such a hard question for me though, because I love movies. So like I would also be like, oh yeah, and One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest.
Great movie.
Right, or Silence of the Lambs, or I just love movies.
I didn't really get into Silence of the Lambs. I mean, I loved it, but people just, I don't know. I didn't get into it the way a lot of people do.
Yeah, that's one of my top. That's one of my favorites. The Matrix is one of my favorites.
Boom.
I mean, I have a lot of favorite movies, and it's so hard. It's like when you asked me the last time I was on for my top 3 favorite like punk rock albums. I'm like, how do I choose?
Right.
How do I even choose? And
I'm gonna go back to my room tonight, put on my headphones, and listen to industrial progressive all night until I lose my mind. I gotta find something to eat. There ain't nothing to eat in this house. I think I got some ramen. I'll go eat some ramen and listen to industrial progressive. And
that sounds like a good plan. I gotta
abuse my mind and body.
I gotta get my kid around for bed and do bedtime stuff. So I gotta get out of here. It's just about 8:00, so I gotta go. But
it's great to see you.
Of course. I just wanted to pop in. I'm glad I got to talk for a little bit longer, but I just wanted to pop in to talk about Walter Wallace Jr.
Yes. So, that's I first saw, I guess, what happened 2 days ago, didn't it?
Yep, 2 or 3 days ago.
Yeah, I think I first saw, because I haven't really watched a lot of news the last couple of days till last night. So I guess it's either last night or the day before that I heard about it, and it just, that's sort of like one of my, I don't know, I want to say fear, trepidation.
It was just one of those things where it's like, I was just talking about this.
Yes.
So
yeah, it's just, man, like it sucks to have a mental illness, but what's even worse is it sucks to have one in the US. Probably a lot of places as well, but
yeah. I mean, but
on top of all the issues that come with it, you got to worry about maybe getting shot to death. So
right. It's definitely not a fun place to have a mental illness.
Yeah, but that's okay, man. Hey, no, I when I first got diagnosed, man, I'm just saying, I tell people, I probably have mentioned it to you in the past. Yeah. I know I have with a lot of people online is together we make it through, or together we make it.
We do.
Yeah, it's like I got your back, you got my back. If you're ever, you already know, if you ever had a time that you were just like, man, I'm losing my freaking mind, or whatever, you can always get a hold of me, and
I will.
Versa. Yeah, please do.
Anytime.
All right.
Thank you.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.
So y'all, I did terrible with like the comments. People are commenting, and I do this. I forget to hit my little comment button. So I'm gonna run down them. B was who you just saw, but my buddy John Carter and I played college bowl at Berry College, and John is actually an Army reservist. He's I think he's E7 now. He's in the band. Okay, like I'm not gonna do all that rear echelon MF stuff. He's a great guy. He's traveled a lot. Him and his wife travel. John and his wife have been all over the world. There's 2 people I know, 3 people. I've never met his wife, but I know of her. But John I know, and John and another person I know who has traveled just literally over 100 countries is Natalie Kelly. Natalie and I were in high school together, and she hasn't been to Bhutan. I asked her on Messenger, I don't know, maybe a year or 2 ago. So, you ever been to Bhutan? She goes, no, not yet. But I like that answer. Not yet. She's been to Nepal, but yeah, she's been all over the place too. But yeah, and he said he's fat. That's his. He's. I don't know. I wouldn't say that. John's in the Army, man. You can't. You can't. Being big in the Army is not the same as being big in civilian life. But yeah, John's a great guy. John, no, don't call yourself fat. You're not. I'm sure you can pass the PT test a lot better than I can. And so we got who else? Oh, Wendy Thornton. See, and I miss these guys. I feel awful. I feel like I'm not doing my job right. But it is unfortunate that people have to be scared of who they are. I thought we were changing in such a positive way, and now we're going backwards. And probably back when we were talking about the Supreme Court. There are LGBTQ people. Some of you listening, two of you right now, according to my thing, maybe LGBTQ, and you're actually experiencing this right now. I don't know, but if you do not know this, with this new person coming onto the Supreme Court, combined with Kavanaugh and Gorsuch, was he the one? Who was the one that didn't get on Democrats? And then they. But anyways, 3 conservative justices now in the last 4 years, and there are LGBTQ folks and folks who have LGBTQ friends like me and stuff that are very worried that same-sex weddings, gay marriage, or whatever, could be rescinded or somehow messed with, and it's just terrible. And Wendy, I'll be seeing you Friday. I'm not going to do my workout Friday. I was scheduled 3:15 to 4:15. You wanted me up there in Gainesville by 5:30. I could easily do that because I can zip right up the interstate from where I'm work out. But I wouldn't probably get a shower first, so I figured I don't want to show up all stinky. And B, I've got some things. I got some auto mechanic type stuff I need to take care of. I need to get my tag renewed. My auto registration, I'm going to do that Friday. Rather than go to the gym, I've done 8 out of the last 10 days. Tomorrow we'll make 9 out of 11 during Hell Week. It's enough. And I'm coming up there to pet sit for you with those. Wendy has these 2 cute little puppies. And one is like a husky and something else, but like a husky. And he's about, he's 4 months old a few weeks ago when I was there. So I guess he's going on 5 months now. And this other little puppy, and he's not a yellow lab, or she's not a yellow lab, but looks like a little yellow lab. So yellow lab to me, I can't remember, but they are just, and she's like maybe 3 months old now. So I have these 2 little puppies that I puppy sit, and then she has a cat, and the cat's like 1,000 years old. Like this cat is really old. And does not put up with those puppies shit. I can tell you that. And but she likes to just sit in her box by the front window and just enjoy the view and the sun. And anytime another cat shows up outside, she gets pissed. But she just kind of does her thing. And then I think there's gonna be another little old Pekingese dog, little Pekingese, gonna be there. But she's gonna be gone for the weekend, and I'm gonna be house sitting and pet sitting and enjoying those little puppies and the cat. I do good if she lets me pick her up, which to say, come inside, it's dinner time, and I'll set her down by her, food bowl, and that she's happy. But yeah, she basically just, she wants to be left alone. And, but the puppies, yeah, they are a bundle of joy. I can tell you that. I'm gonna get a lot of reading done. I'm going to rest myself up from this, like I say, 11 days. I've done 9 workouts, and as of tomorrow will be the last one. I'll have done, I think 6 of the 9 workouts counted as Hell Week workouts. So I'm pretty tired. But I was talking with Mitch, and I think, we were looking for a replacement for the Elvis Burger road trip. And I think what it's going to be is me hopefully doing the Spartan Trifecta next year. And so we'll kind of make a show out of that, a little documentary out of Gene, falling off a 50-foot cargo net and splitting his skull open or something like that. And all y'all can go, I told you so. But, anyways, hey, so that's kind of it for tonight. Thank you to people that came on. Gita, who I will tell you again, Gita is, it's been a privilege to, well, I still know her, not to know her, but Gita is actually one of the best people I have ever known in my life. I mean, she is absolutely, and B, another person who I just think so highly of. And I think highly of all y'all, all, 6 of you that maybe watch this show. And John Carter, you're military, dude. Don't call yourself fat, bro. You just, no. I guarantee you can still do the push-ups. And so anyways, let's see, man. What do we got here? The sponsors. And like I said, this is free, but go do me a favor. Like go to YouTube to Rucksack Revolution and just subscribe to it. You'll there's podcasts, different things. It's really great. But we've got like 57 subscribers. Our goal is to get 400 and monetize it. But right now, I think if we get to 100, we get a Rucksack Revolution link or something on Facebook. So we're really trying to do that. We're not asking for anything from you, but just say, hey, I subscribe. That's it, man. Just hit subscribe on YouTube. Nothing bad will happen to you. Good things will happen to you, actually. Prosperity will come to you. I don't know. I'm not Joel Osteen. I'm lying. But anyways, that was so bad. I can't. Joel Osteen. Here's what you get, Joel. Boom. That's it, Joel Osteen. Paula White. Benny Hinn. Now we'll be cool with Benny because Benny's I think Benny Hinn has cancer right now, and he's kind of rescinded the prosperity teaching thing a little bit from what I hear. But Franklin Graham. Franklin Graham, you get 2. Anyways, so hey, here's the sponsor stuff for check out on Patreon. Here's a little banner for that. I'll just put it up real quick on the bottom. Is it patreon.com Rucksack Rev, and you will find the serial. It's gonna be 24 episodes. I think we're somewhere around, I don't know, episode 15 or 16 now, maybe. But 24 episode series documentary of my recent Elvisburger road trip all over the USA. You'll see a lot of interesting things from BLM protests and interviews. I did a really great interview with this young person in the autonomous zone in Seattle that we talked about a lot of the issues. Why did the autonomous zone occur, and what was it? What were the aims of it? You'll get to see bison in Yellowstone, and you'll get to see just all kinds of cool stuff. And anyway, so there's that, and the podcast, and which is 2 a week. We're working on 3 a week. And my blog, which honestly I haven't been doing a good job on the last week, doing this Hell Week thing. I haven't. I'm a little behind in my writing, and I need to get on that, and I will do that in the coming next couple days. But so just check it out, man. Patreon.com Rucksack Rev. Check it out. I'm not trying to get rich on it. It has nothing to do with that, but it'll help me maybe buy a little better, maybe some mics, a little better studio equipment, better camera, do some traveling. I can put gas in Snoopy. So, my Kia Sorento, so that I can go out and do more interviews and get you cool videos of things like Buffalo or, protests or who knows what, maybe Spartan races this year. So anyways, there's that. And so here's the, let me show you here, the sponsors, and I'm going to get out of here and find something to eat. All I ate today, I had a box of Kraft macaroni and cheese about an hour and a half before I went to the gym, which might be part of my problem. I had like 1,100 calories of nothing but carbohydrates and chemicals in me, and 300 milligrams of caffeine. Like, don't go and do a Hell Week workout on like a box of Kraft macaroni and cheese and like a rock star. Okay, don't be me. Don't do that. You got to eat better than I do. But anyways. So here we go. Rucksack Revolution production brought to you by the following people. And wait, hold on. Let me. I messed up. Let me get that banner off here so you can really see. Because that way you can see. This is important. Scarlett Kofer, because you'll see in a minute. The banner kind of blocks out her thing, but. Here we go. Scarlett Kofer Art on patreon.com and redbubble.com. She's an amazing person and an amazing artist. And David's Delicious Delights in Selinsgrove, Pennsylvania. And he makes cheesecake, and I'm going to have some one day. And hometownaction.org, which is a power building collective working for more sustainable and inclusive communities in the rural South. I saw a special last night, 30 on 30. on ESPN. And this episode was about the Auburn, Alabama, rivalry. And Charles Barkley, who, went to Auburn, Bo Jackson and Charles Barkley were on it a lot. And I think it was one of them. I think it was Charles Barkley said that, like one of the problems in Alabama was there's just this, these conservative people that make it really hard on all the actual cool people in Alabama. And there are some cool people in Alabama. And one of them is Warren Tidwell, who is a grassroots organizer out of Auburn, who is the state outreach coordinator, I think it is, for Hometown Action. And he's an amazing, amazing guy. And you'll see upcoming in the documentary, you're going to see that the documentary series that Warren and I, when I met Warren, first time I met Warren was actually in Selma, Alabama. And later that day, we were at Selma, Alabama, walked the Edmund Pettus Bridge, got the history of that day and the circumstances surrounding it from a gentleman who was 13 at the time. And his uncle actually was in Bloody Sunday. He would have been, but his uncle forbade him to go because he was 13 and he kind of knew that, heads were going to get cracked. And he said, you're just not old enough for this one yet, kid. And so we went there and then drove the route of the Selma Montgomery March, stopping at the memorial for Viola Liuzzo on the side of the road, going into Lowndes County. And we went to Montgomery and we went to the Freedom Riding Museum and several other things of note there. And went to a memorial service for C.T. Vivian and John Lewis, who both had died very recently. John Lewis, I think, had died 2 days before, and Reverend Vivian had died just a couple days before that. It was in the week before. And both of those people, of course, John Lewis got more coverage, but C.T. Vivian, Reverend C.T. Vivian, was a major player in the historic civil rights movement and someone I studied in school and was very familiar with. And I actually have known people, currently I'm not around him, but I've known people who knew him personally. I never met him, but I only heard good things about him. And so we were at a service for him in Montgomery that was held outdoors, and it was actually held at the spot where Rosa Parks was arrested for refusing to give up her seat on the bus. But anyway, so Warren Tidwell, great guy. And so, hey, I'm going to get out of here and I'm going to go find some, I don't know, ramen or something. I got to eat something. So anyways, I want to mention one other thing. I'm doing a podcast tomorrow night that's going to be taped with Brianna Moore, who's this amazing young musician from St. Genevieve, Missouri, who I met on my road trip. She's incredible. We're going to be taping a podcast tomorrow night. She will undoubtedly be playing some music, singing, playing her guitar. But also, I just want to say that Sunday night, I'm not sure if I'll do a live stream. I'm going to be pet sitting, and we'll see how that all works out, how my schedule is on Sunday. But Tuesday night, election night, I'm going to do a special live stream on election night. And if any of you would like to message me, Gene Anderson, on Facebook, on Messenger, and give me some rules for an election night drinking game, I'd be more than happy to, consider your suggestions, as long as you play along. But yeah, election night, I'm going to do a live stream. So anyways, there's that. So in the meantime, this Rucksack Revolution live stream, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Do it. It's worth it. Subscribe to the Patreon site. You'll get something good out of it. Trust me. I'm not one of those like $30 a month. No. The top tier is $9 a month. That's it, man. 30 cents a day. The one to get the podcast, the documentary, is only $6 a month. That's 20 cents a day. And the documentary film is 10 cents a day. So it's $3. Come on, $3. $3. I can't buy a 24-ounce monster for $3. So, you can let's do this, man. Be part of what's going on. So anyways, I'll see you guys. Be blessed. Take care. If I don't see you Sunday, I will see you Tuesday night. And vote blue. Vote blue. And please vote. And if you have an absentee mail-in ballot, do not put it in the mail now. There's a good chance it won't be counted. Take it down to your local supervisor of elections office or your precinct, whatever, turn it in by hand. Do not put it in the mail because it's not going to get counted. There's a pretty good chance because some really screwed up people have been doing some really screwed up things with the Postal Service. So anyways, I'm out of here, man. Take care. Be blessed.